So what does it take for you to be able to really step it up a notch and get to that next level in your business? I really wanted to talk about this in a very powerful way because this is something that is very dear to my heart and something that I personally prioritize consistently, like the mindset work behind what it takes and who it takes, what part of you it takes for you to really step up and get to that next level. And what I want to share with you today is the result of a lot of inner work. It's the result of a lot of focus, of a lot of investing in myself, in coaches, in programs, in reading, in just a lot of different things. And, it's really something more personal than anything else because this is what I've really learned. And I feel like this is a big part of the work that I'm here to do in the world. Although I don't necessarily talk about this as often, I do think that it's something that is really, really important. So I really believe that our capacity to grow to that next level, to get to whatever, if you want to look at it financially, 10K a month, 100K a month, 100K a day, whatever it is, whatever your situation is, it really comes down to your capacity to receive, right? And you only get what you have the capacity to receive. That's kind of the core of all of this. But the issue tends to be that there's a very much a lack of commitment that we have with the internal things, right? And we think that we have commitment and we say that we have commitment and we show up in our business and we do the work and we do the things and, we're creating the videos and we're creating content and we're writing the emails and we're doing all the things externally, but internally that connection has its moments. There's kind of a little bit of lack of internal commitment that's necessary. I feel like that oftentimes, at least that's been my own experience. I can tell you from my own truth over the years, I would say that I was doing inner work and I would say that I was journaling and trying to, meditate or do this or that, but I wasn't really as committed. And what I've realized is that if you want big things in your life, if you want to reach big goals, and if you specifically want to reach goals that are outside of your comfort zone and are outside of your kind of like levels where you've been stuck in or income ceiling or whatever, it requires a different level of you. Quoting Aunt May from Spider-Man, I think it was Aunt May, with big power comes big responsibility. So you really have to take this seriously. And, what I'm going to go into might sound a little bit exaggerated, but honestly, this is just my way of viewing the world. This is how I see things. This is what I feel about these things and how I show up with them and how they show up in my life, right? So when you want something that is big and you want this big financial goal for yourself and you want to be able to achieve all of these amazing things, that requires for you to really step up into a new level of leadership, right? In my case, that's how I personally view it, because I also understand that in the work that I do, I'm standing up against something that is really, really big. I'm standing up against an industry that has for decades taught us that what we need to do is paid marketing and agitation and all of these different things to get people to buy. And so what that requires for me to be able to stand up against this type of messaging and this type of doing marketing and this type of way of doing things is a new level of leadership. Now, in your case, maybe you're not necessarily standing against a giant. Maybe you're not, but building this level of success still requires more of you anyway. So it's really important that you give that internal part the seriousness that it requires, that level of commitment and consistency that you need to be able to get results. And what happens is that oftentimes we pause, we press pause. We're feeling good, everything is great, and then we come across a trigger or something happens and we don't really commit. Or we do things in a very transactional way. I remember so much back in the beginning of me doing journaling and finding, spirituality or whatever. and being like, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm writing what I want, I'm writing what I want as if it already happened. I'm doing all the things. Where is the money? Where are the clients? I don't get it. And it was this very transactional way of doing things. And that doesn't work, right? When you're meditating, but your mind is thinking about all the things that you need to do and just waiting for the bell to go off so that you can just get out of your chair and go do things, you are being transactional and you're not really doing the things that you need to do. You're doing things for the sake of doing them, but that's not going to be the thing that makes a difference, right? I have seen this so much in my own life. I have that, and by the way, we're all human. This is part of the process, right? But I've had these moments where I'm super committed, I'm all in, and either things go really well, and then I'm like, okay, I got this. I often tell this joke, and I talk to my coach about it very often, of like, I get to this point where I'm like, okay, I got it. I know exactly what I need to do. It's done. I'm never going to lose this feeling. I feel really good. And then 2 days later, I get triggered horribly by something and I feel like crap. And it's like, what happened? How did this happen so fast? So my point is really about how either that happens, you're feeling really good. So then you kind of, well, it doesn't feel as important to you to continue that inner work, or you're feeling okay, you're doing the work, but then this big trigger comes along and it just like throws you on the floor and you feel terrible, right? So therefore it's like, crap, right? I have seen in my life the power that comes from you really being consistent with this inner work, with choosing to feel good no matter what is going on in your life. And for me, this work of you really doing what's necessary to help you get to that next level, it's not only about money, it's about your lifestyle, your well-being. And, it is what it is, right? So life is going to always show you the way. And what's really important, what I really have learned, is that you need to find a way to be able to dominate your emotions. Now, emotions are really important because they're there to guide you. Feel bad, something needs your attention, right? It's important, but you can't get triggered so much and with so much ease that it takes you completely out every single day or every other way. And as I have grown in my business, this is one of those things that I have really been able to master more and more. Obviously, I will spend the rest of my life trying to master this, and I won't be able to complete the lesson because this is the lesson at times. But in the beginning, I would get triggered by very small things and I would blow them out of proportion and feel like crap for a few days and press pause for a few days. And it would take me so long to build that momentum and to start feeling good again. And then I would start again and that would happen. Today, those triggers, sometimes when I'm caught off guard, when I'm not really consistent with my internal energy, mindset practices, whatever you want to call them, spiritual practices, whatever you want to call them, when I'm not as consistent with them, those triggers can take me off really, really quickly and easily. But when I'm consistent with them, I can kind of just brush off problems easily, right? And what I want you to understand is that that's part of the work. Like, you getting into that next level is not always going to be just about the things that you need to do externally. I mean, obviously there are things that need to be in place. Like, you're not going to make money from your business if you don't have an offer, or if you're speaking to the wrong audience, or you're not attracting the right people, or you're not really speaking in your message in a way that feels aligned and everything is off. I mean, that should be kind of obvious, right? But also, it doesn't only come down to the external things. It really does come down to, a lot of the times, the internal ways in which we're showing up and how we're being triggered by things. Because someone that has this type of business that you want to have, 10K, 20K, 100K a month, whatever that number is, they are going to be able to attract the bad with the good, right? So what happens is that we believe, well, when I get to 100K a month, or when I get to 200 a month, or when I get to whatever, everything's going to be beautiful and perfect. And I'm going to be so happy and my life is going to be wonderful and all of these things. And that's not the truth. What I've learned as I have grown my own business is that everything good comes with the bad. It's not just about the good. So 100K months means a lot of different things. It means refunds. It means people, customer service issues. It means, clients asking for, tech issues that need to be resolved, or your email not working in a day. And then you're hurting your back, and you have your kids, and you have your house, and you have your husband or your partner, or life is always going to happen, and it's always going to come with the bad and the good at the same time. So If every time something comes up, you're going to be triggered and been taken out and really just going into this horrible loop, it's going to be impossible for you to sustain growth, because you are stopping that growth by you not learning how to master those emotions or master those triggers, right? By you letting them take you down. So this is part of the work. How do I learn to hold all of it? How do I stay in my power even when things are not great, even when things are terrible, even if I have like a client asking for a refund or somebody that was going to pay that suddenly ghosted you or whatever that is? How do I stay in my power even in the face of challenges and obstacles? That right there is the actual secret to growing your business. That is it. If you are able to stay in your power and maintain your momentum and maintain your potency and your energy, nothing will ever stop you from getting where you want to be. And you can look at this as like magic of like you're manifesting it, or you can look at it as if you're in your power, you're going to continuously come up with these creative ideas and these creative solutions or alternatives to kind of solving that problem, than if you stayed in fear and in these stories that you need to tell yourself, right? So for me, what I've learned over the years is that this has to become the number one priority. Like not the number two priority, the number one priority. Like if you only have one thing that you need to do in your business today, go meditate. I can't even believe that I'm saying this, by the way, because if you know me, I always talk about how meditation is something that I don't personally like to do. It's not that I don't like to do. I have this whole like, about it. So I always say that as long as I'm doing a breathing exercise, I can do it. If you call it meditation, even if it's the same thing, I won't do it. But if you call it a breathing exercise, I'm in. But it's not about meditation. It's not about if you only have one thing to do, be that meditate. That's not it. I mean, it can be. But what my point really is about feeling good. What can you do to start feeling good right now under whatever circumstance you're in, and let that feeling expand and grow and grow and grow, no matter what life is showing you today, no matter what's coming up, no matter what trigger is happening, whatever is going on, doesn't matter. How can I stay feeling really good? How can I enjoy my life? Because that is one of also the biggest lessons in my life, the importance of being present right now. Instead of living in the future, living in the past, worrying about what's coming, what's not coming, what happened, what didn't happen, why I was stuck or not. It's about living in this moment. And this is the biggest cliche in the world. This moment is now. It's done. You're not going to get it back. This is it. So you have to find a way to be at peace with where you're at right now in your life. Not even peace, to enjoy it, enjoy the journey, enjoy the challenges and the problems that show up, and not take so much, just create so many stories around everything that happens and put so much emotion into everything and suffer so much to these things, but instead just allow yourself to feel good. And honestly, I know that this sounds like, Fabi, it's easy for you to say or whatever, but there's a lot that you don't know behind the scenes in my life that isn't always easy. You know, the story of how I got to where I am is not necessarily an easy story, although there were things that made it easier for me. I came from Venezuela to the US as an immigrant that started my business from zero. I had no income coming in. I had savings, but I had no income coming in. And I needed to figure this out. My husband, who is a singer, was a famous singer in Venezuela, had his career basically eliminated because as we moved out, country kind of fell apart, music industry went to hell, and therefore he basically did not have a career anymore. And what that meant is that I became the primary breadwinner of our family, right? So from being somebody that was like living my life freely and not caring about much in Venezuela, my husband had a great job and, you know, money coming in, and I had clients here and there. I now became the person responsible for our finances. Now, today, my husband works with me. This is our company, and he has other businesses as well. But at the time when I came here, it was just me. And that pressure can be a lot. So I understand that you might think, Fabi, it's easy for you to say this when you're in this situation, but there's a lot in my life that you don't know about, and a lot of things that I go through as well that make it difficult. And I can still say that despite the difficulty, you always have a choice to feel good. You always have the choice to close your eyes and connect with the feeling of good and let your thoughts just pass through. Do not engage with them. The moment something comes up that will trigger you, do not engage with it. Obviously, you have to face the issues. You have to face the problems in a way, right? Like if it's something that needs your immediate attention, you need to show up for it and you need to resolve it or whatever it is. Like you're on a client call and they're upset with you. I don't know. I'm just randomly making this up, right? You have to be there with the client, but you don't have to dwell on the situation the rest of the week and then feel like crap forever. Just allow whatever happens to happen, process it and move on, right? That's what needs to happen. It's your connection to good. And I kind of feel like this is a process that allows me personally to just feel more in connection with myself and more connected to God, right? Source, universe, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I feel like it's a connection to God. And staying in the quiet and allowing good to come through your body and making a decision that I'm going to make today the best day possible. I'm going to make this day amazing. Like if this was my last day ever, I'll still be like, I crushed that day. Like, doesn't matter if I made a sale, I didn't make a sale, like if I got a comment on social media, I didn't get a comment, none of that really matters. The only thing that matters is the way in which I show up. When I can consistently maintain that energy and consistently maintain that level of potency, everything in my life and my business changes. And I have done this multiple times in my career, right? I started my business in 2016. There were multiple months, especially towards the beginning, where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make enough money this month to be able to pay all the bills. And I would focus on this work, consistently focus on this work. And miraculously, things would happen. People would come in. I would generate sales that I did not expect to generate. Random people would come into my life. I have seen the evidence of this in my own life multiple times. So my whole point with all of this is really allowing yourself to feel good. The reason why you have not gotten to that next level is that you don't allow yourself to feel good the majority of the time. You spend too many hours worrying about the fact that you're stuck in this level and going in circles around why things are not happening. And what you're only doing is perpetuating that problem and attracting it and generating more and more and more of it. Clearly, that's not what any of us want. That's not what you want. That's not what I want, right? And why are you spending so much time just going around and round and round and the same problem? So what you want to do is really come back to truth. And for me, what that means, it's closing my eyes, it's breathing deeply, it's connecting to the feeling of good that is already within my body at this very second, and then just allowing truth to come in. Underneath the noise that you have in your head, underneath the stories, the chatter, the inner critic, and all of that, there's a little voice within you that's really the one that will tell you the truth and will tell you the true truth, right? It will tell you exactly what you really need to hear. And you need to start believing that voice more. I believe that that's the voice of God. And I think that I might be a little bit crazy. God, universe, again, whatever you want to call it, source. I really do believe that. I feel like the voice that I hear in that moment is a voice that has more knowledge than what I know and will tell me, Fabi, everything is okay. Everything is perfect. Everything is wonderful. And if I can listen to that voice more, everything in my life feels easier, right? What happens very often is that we are doing these things with the expectation of that immediate results. Like, I want to see it right now. I'm doing this and where the client? That's part of the problem, right? You're not really doing it correctly. This is about really committing to you doing this work no matter what. And when you can stay consistent with that inner work and really connecting to your truth, that is when the actual results happen. So for me, this whole topic of why you haven't gotten to that next level in your business and why you're stuck in the same place or this income ceiling, it really comes down to your ability to hold the bad with the good and your ability to move through the bad as quickly as possible. In fact, your ability to realize that nothing really is bad. It's just there. It's just one more thing that's going to get you actually ahead, right? Every single one of the challenges and obstacles that I have faced in my business have brought me to where I am today. And I feel at peace in my business right now with where I'm at. Am I making $1 million, $2 million a year or whatever? Not necessarily, but I live in a life in a world where I love what I do every single day. And I feel really connected with it and with my purpose. And every single day I get better at overcoming those triggers, or actually not even seeing them as triggers anymore, right? And it's part of that inner work. So if you're going to do one thing in your business, what I urge you to do is connect to the good within you. And that's going to be the thing that's going to allow you to get to the next level. Now, if what you want is something else, of course, I'm going to invite you to sign up for readytoinvestclients.com, where I do have a training on how to speak to the ready to invest clients. And this is going to be the other part of you getting to that next level, making sure that you have a message that feels like you, that feels aligned, that is coming from your soul, from your heart, from your experience, from your knowledge, from the true impact that you're here to make, from the passion that you have within you, from your true purpose. When you build a message that feels authentic and in alignment, everything else feels easier. Everything flows. So go to readytoinvestclients.com to watch that training. I hope that this was really helpful. And I hope that it kind of get to, like, I think that, my goal with it is to really help it get to your heart. And for the right people, they're going to get exactly what I mean for this. So I really hope that that is you. Please let me know in the comments below how this landed with you, if it resonates. Subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on another episode.